Okay. Um, Up next was Sheamus versus Seth Rollins. Cesaro ended up coming down to ringside towards the beginning of the match after it had already started, and he ended up causing a distraction for Sheamus, which allowed Rollins to get the pin.
I gotta say, even though Rollins has had a few hiccups here and there, like with RVD getting some losses by counting or whatever, and getting pinned by Heath Slater with the Dean Ambrose distraction, I will still say that I think he's been booked stronger than past Money in the Bank holders. Personally, he got a win over Sheamus, who is the United States champion. Yeah, there were shenanigans, but he pinned him. I think that's a sizable win. And so far anyway, he's come out ahead against Dean Ambrose in their feud. Like, he seems like a very credible briefcase holder. I'm very proud of that fact. And this is a very fun match. I like the back and forth they had. I like the clash of styles, with Sheamus just being this big brute, this brawler, and Seth just being this very cerebral high flyer, maps out all of his maneuvers and this and that. And again, the beauty of Seth Rollins and the curb stomp, and I just keep thinking back to that one line you said, which I love, and I still wish Seth Rollins would get a t-shirt with it. Everybody's the same size when they're on their hands and knees. Because Sheamus is a big dude, or at least is a big-looking dude. And
Yeah.
even he fell victim to the curb stomp, which I just think shows you just how brilliant the move really is.
Yeah, it's a great finisher. I don't know. It kind of makes you wonder if Dean is going to add something if he can't do dirty deeds to guys that big.
Right. I personally, I would like to see Dean get some kind of submission hold or something. But, hell, maybe even take over the Regal stretch. Not like Regal's going to be competing again anytime soon. But, yeah, I mean, Seth's just got a great repertoire, and he got the win over Sheamus, so I'm all smiles. And then in the post-match, because Cesaro embarrassed that Sheamus just let him win the tug-of-war, so he'd trip over himself over the United States Championship, he comes in the ring, he hits the neutralizer, and then he does his arm machine guns, and he walks out. I think these two are going to have one hell of a matchup at Night of Champions. I don't see Cesaro coming out on top at the moment, but I like how physical the build to this matchup has been. It's been very nice.
Yeah, they've been doing some kind of physical contact on just about every show that we've seen them in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely been the theme of this feud, is just the physicality, which is, I think, is what they want these two to be known for and their matches to be known for. Um, hopefully this is kind of the last chapter between these two, because I do love seeing them compete, but I am in agreement with Sheamus, because he talked about the feud, and he says, it's a bit off-putting because it's like an on-again, off-again sort of thing. And now, of course, we're clearly on the on-again stage. But I do want to see Sheamus, Rusev, and then Cesaro. I really don't have anything to say at this time, honestly, because I don't know what he'd do. I mean, I was still saying program with Brock Lesnar, but I don't know at this point. I really don't. So,
Yeah, I feel you on that, man. I don't even know. I don't even, John.
and I'm the same way, dude. Like, and it's nothing against Cesaro or WWE or anything like that. It's just, he's such a great athlete. I love watching him. He's one of my favorites. Him and Bray carrying the product for me. And I just want to find a good place for him. And I'd love a match with Brock. But really, like, his booking just hasn't been there. And the big Brock Lesnar match I want next on my wish list is Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. So I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see where Cesaro goes after this. And maybe for that reason, he'll win, because maybe they feel like he needs the U.S. title more than Sheamus. But I just can't help but think that Rusev is next in line, and they want Sheamus to take the brunt of that.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Rusev, up next we had a segment with Mark Henry and Rusev, I believe. Maybe just Rusev and Lana. I don't think Mark Henry got involved, did he?
He didn't get involved. I think you might be thinking of, they had an announcement on SmackDown that they're going to have an international arm wrestling contest. So that's a thing.
But yeah, Lana does cut a promo here, and I just didn't care.
Exactly.
This was one of the matches that I ended up watching football instead.
And yeah, you didn't even really miss an actual match. Just Lana cutting the promo, saying the glory of Russia, and we're going to celebrate its best patriot, Rusev. And then the flag gets lowered, the theme plays, everybody eats it like Meow Mix, and that's really all there is to it.
Like Neomix, huh?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, guess what was next, John?
What was next, Ashton?
We had a tag team match involving certain NXT competitors.
Oh, man, and everybody and their mothers lost their minds. Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah. Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd against Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville. And now, before we even get into the actual match, let me just say that this, and somebody made a great point when I was, again, scouring reviews and fan opinions of this show. I was just thinking at first that this was a great promotion for TakeOver 2. But somebody even went as far as to say, WWE, that is how you promote the network, not saying for $9.99 constantly.
Yeah.
And that's a great point, because NXT is a product exclusive, to the network. And I feel like you showed that. And you know what? Some people were complaining about how the crowd at times didn't seem really fully engaged or enthralled by what these guys were doing. But you know what that tells me? I think that told me more that these guys were just blissfully unaware that this kind of talent was even a thing in WWE.
Yep.
I think this tells me, because I feel like the people that reacted, to me, that says that they're intimate with the NXT product.
Exactly.
They watch it regularly.
And the people that weren't reacting because they didn't know how to react, because this is the first time they've seen this stuff. And their minds were blown because they were spending this entire match just trying to digest that they didn't have time to react.
Exactly. To me, it was almost as if they were saying by their silence and trying to sort it out. Wait a minute. Did WWE get things mixed up and they just wanted to air the dark match to get it out of the way? Or is this some kind of exhibit? Like, what is this? And then when you realize that it's a thing, and I'm sure they'll go back and they'll watch this episode to try and pick themselves out of the audience, and you get to this matchup, you'll think, wait a minute, they're on this thing called NXT? Well, what's NXT? And then the rabbit hole just takes care of itself. I would like to think that this matchup made a lot of new NXT fans, Ashton. I really hope they did. I'll actually be interested, and that was another point somebody made too, in what the network subscription numbers will translate into, potentially because of this match. Maybe not any, maybe only 5. But I'm hoping that NXT got some new fans tonight.
Dude, it infuriates me how many people don't watch NXT, because literally every time somebody who doesn't watch NXT gets exposed to NXT, they say, wow, this is awesome. And I'm just like, why haven't you been watching it this whole time?
Exactly. I mean, you and I practically scream it at the top of our lungs during NXT reviews. And I gotta tell everybody a funny story.
And here's the thing, John. Let's point out, as cute and exciting as this match was nothing. These guys would have gotten 15 minutes on an actual episode of NXT.
That's so true too. Like, everybody that salivated over this and felt like they just got pleasured in a way that just barely didn't cross over into the sexual realm by this matchup.
People, everybody listening to this, if you enjoyed anybody from this match, all 4 of them had individual singles matches on the most recent episode of NXT against other talented individuals. Go watch it now!
Yeah, go watch it now. What are you even doing listening to me for? What the hell's wrong with you? Because, yeah, they felt spoiled by this, and yet this doesn't even compare.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Dude, I feel like even that may be a bit hyperbolic, because to me, like, this was a good match. But to me, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves here for what it was. The heels pretty much ate the babyface offense, especially Tyler Breeze here. Poor Prince
and let's
Pretty.
be honest with us, Sami Zayn ate some offense of his own. He had his little series of arm drags at the beginning of the match, but after that, he was selling.
Yeah, I felt like, and this isn't a put down, because I get it, and I get that that's the nature of the business. I felt like this wasn't just an advertisement for NXT. This is a promotion of Adrian Neville. Because
yes.
I think first of all, you knew it was, because when Sami Zayn was about to get the hot tag in the matchup, JBL even went as far as to say, I haven't seen anything this incredible as what this kid does in 20 years.
Yes.
And that was huge.
And dude, he gets the tag in, and immediately Tyson Kidd goes for a clothesline. He ducks it, kick to the gut, spins around, kick to the face, spins around again, kick to the knee to take his knees out. And no, it was actually Breeze. And then he goes, hits the ropes, drop kick to the face, and then JBL was just like, he's excited, Michael. I've never seen anything like this kid in my life. So
exactly. Good. And then, just to really drive home that I think they really want to make Adrian Neville. And to be honest, Ashton, when Adrian Neville comes up to the main roster, I'm going to watch him like a hawk. Yeah. Because I think they've got big designs for him.
Dude, if Evan Bourne could get as over as he was.
Yeah. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Evan Bourne was in main event matches tag teaming with John Cena at one point. Can we just establish this and realize how much more of the WWE look and how much more pure, high-flying, and high-velocity talent Adrian Neville has than Evan Bourne? I would even go as far as to say Neville's a better talker than Evan Bourne, and Neville's not even a good talker.
And here's the thing, and this is not a put-down of Evan Bourne, because this doesn't even reflect my own views. I'm just thinking how WWE would. You have to imagine that Adrian Neville's going to keep his nose clean. Evan Bourne violated the wellness policy.
Yep.
It didn't help that he got injured as well, which I don't know about Adrian Neville in that factor, but as far as keeping your nose clean and respecting the policy, I think Adrian Neville will be just fine. I think he is going to set the world on fire, because the one last important thing I want to note, when he went to the top rope, Michael Cole ensured that everybody had their attention on Neville.
Dude, he was so good. I mean, he was a little, past his time, because he said, hit the record button now! And nobody does that, because nobody uses VHS tapes anymore. But DVRs, sure! Get your DVR open, do it! Get your DVR on right now, turn it on and record this! Dude, he did such a great job of selling it. And the one unfortunate thing about this match is that Neville did kind of not necessarily hit the red arrow as perfectly as he normally does. It looked like his knee got driven into Tyler Breeze's chest, which I just hope Breeze is okay. But still, the part about the red arrow that's special isn't the landing, it's what happens in the air, and that was just picture perfect.
Yeah, it's the forms, it's the twists, it's just the steps, really. And Cole was such a great sell man for this.
Yep.
Really made it seem like if you don't see anything, and really I would go that far, his commentary at least implied, even if he didn't expressly come out and say it, that if you weren't going to save any part of Raw tonight, hell, if you weren't even going to see any part of Raw tonight, see this part. See this moment, and then go back, watch your football games, do whatever, but you need to see this because this is breathtaking, this is incredible. And they did just such a great job of selling him that's why I'm saying, when Adrian Neville comes to the main roster, and I'm a Tyler Breeze fan, and I'm a Sami Zayn fan and all that, and I think they could do big things too, but I think Adrian Neville, at least in WWE's eyes, and what they personally do with him, will dwarf them. Yeah. Because, and you know what, I knew it, I had that hunch, even at the first takeover, when they had John Cena personally shake Adrian Neville's hand after winning the championship.
Yep.
That to me said, holy crap, what are they doing? And I think John Cena, when he was cutting a promo in his feud with Bray Wyatt, he name-dropped Neville at one point.
Yes, he did. He also name-dropped Sami Zayn for what it's worth. But yeah.
That is true, and then that gives me hope for Zayn as well. That and his fan following. I mean, Jesus, he may be another Daniel Bryan case where WWE has no choice but to give him a great spot. But Neville is going to be the pet project. He's going to be the guy that comes up, and they're going to be like, where do we take him? How long do we want to take to get him there? Just all that stuff.
Can I point something out real quick?
Sure.
Sami Zayn, despite the fact that Adrian Neville is your champion and the guy that they really wanted to emphasize, Sami Zayn entered last.
That is true.
Adrian Neville was they did the heels first. And actually Tyler Breeze was the first entrance. And Tyler Breeze's entrance on Raw made me realize just how much I miss Good Dirty Fun as his theme song. But regardless of that, he came out and then Kidd came out. Then Neville came out and Sami Zayn entered last. And to me, that's a big deal because typically whoever you want to highlight is who you would want to enter last.
Well, yeah, it's like when you think about a big main event tag match or this, that, or the other, and it would involve, like, say, a John Cena or a Randy Orton, they would traditionally enter last because they're the guy that you feel like, that should be the most attention paid because they are the guys. And in the case of Sami Zayn here, he enters last, and maybe that's WWE's way of saying, hey, keep your eye on this guy. This guy is something special. This guy is somebody that you don't want to sleep on. Even though Neville did get the hot tag and he did get the pin and he did get that kind of emphasis, I do think Sami Zayn as well will be incredibly successful. And these two guys are just proof that the old model of thinking, the old 80s and maybe even somewhat the 90s way of thinking about these big, muscled up, jacked up guys, that's changing. I mean, we're seeing a changing of the guard with guys like Daniel Bryan main eventing WrestleManias and being world champions, and now these guys just lighting the world on fire. It's really their time. So, and I'm quite proud of them for it.
Yeah. This was the highlight of Raw for me.
Oh, this is the highlight of Raw for many people, Ashton. No mistaking that. That was the funny story that I wanted to say earlier, because thanks to my friend James, he's the only reason why I knew that this was even going on, because he told me about it and he was freaking out. And I'm like, you're just screwing with me, right? Because he's been known to be a pretty clever troll when he wants to be. And he's like, no, dude, I'm serious. So I was watching like a hawk, and when I saw them on the ring, I'm like, holy shit. I was calling out to you, Ashton, because I know you had excused yourself because you had stuff to do. And I'm like, no, we can't miss this. No. And then thankfully you did see it. But everybody was just raving over this. And again, as you and I established earlier when we began this discussion, this wasn't even a drop in the bucket, to use your term. This wasn't even a crumb of what these guys do when they're on their own show, when they're on their own turf. Again, I mean, Adam Rose getting time on that show should be proof enough that it's so different from anything else you've seen WWE produce. It's amazing to me. And then the tweet that Triple H did after, that was only a small taste of what you can expect. If you really want to see these guys at their best, tune in to TakeOver 2. # the future is now. And everybody just creamed themselves with joy. James even said, like, it took forever to his heart to come back down. That's NXT.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There you go.
For putting the final stamp on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was fun. This was great. Seriously, guys, I wasn't joking. All four of these guys had a match, a singles match, on this past episode of NXT. John, can you remember who all they faced?
Sami Zayn faced Marcus Louis.
Okay.
Adrian Neville faced CJ Parker.
That's right.
Tyler Breeze faced Ty Dillinger.
That's right, Tyler versus Ty. Who did Tyson Kidd face?
Tyson Kidd faced Adam Rose.
Okay, yeah. So 4 singles matches for these guys. And I know that most of you people, if you don't watch NXT or listen to our NXT Twitwell, probably only recognize 1, maybe 2 of those names, because I don't know if we've ever brought up CJ Parker on a Raw review before. But still, there's all 4 of the guys that these guys faced were talented. They're not exceptional main event caliber guys, but all 4 of them have wrestling ability, and they put on some great matches.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I think you captured it perfectly. These guys did awesome, and they really weren't even given that much time. Like, I really can't stress that enough. This wasn't a barn burner by any stretch. Watch NXT, because the main event, consistently with each show, is guaranteed to get like anywhere from 10 to 15 to sometimes even 20 plus minutes, depending on who the headliner is. The main events do get time. And yeah, I'm just so happy that these guys got this kind of platform. I'd say every once in a while, anytime that you want to highlight an NXT special event, give these guys a spot on your show. I mean, it's 3 hours, Ashton. With all the stuff that they feel the need to work in, if you couldn't work in giving an exhibition match to 2 NXT guys, to not even say, hey, they're a part of our family now, but rather just that we wanted to show them off and see if you guys like them and if you guys would like NXT, I'd be cool with that. I'd probably be excited about that. Let's just hope that this becomes a trend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my question coming out of this is, does the WWE consider this to be a debut or not? Because they were on Raw. Like, we can officially say Tyson Kidd, well, he's already been, but Tyler Breeze, Adrian Neville, and Sami Zayn have been on Raw. Does that mean that they are part of Raw now, or was this just a one-time thing that they were going to use to promote the network?
To me, the way commentary made it sound, the way Triple H's tweet made it sound, this was merely a promotional tactic both for TakeOver 2 and in the grander scheme of things, the network. However, it will make their actual debuts more interesting because they can harken back to this matchup and be like, oh, remember Sami Zayn? Well, he's coming to Raw, to be a part of the roster in 2 weeks, or the same thing with Neville, or the same thing with Breeze. Again, Kidd was already kind of that, so whether they want to bring him up or not, they wouldn't make as big a stink about it. But yeah, those 3 guys, they could just harken back to that point and be like, well, they were here, and now they're really ready to take it on, just 100%. And then we have our talents. But for now, I do think this is merely a promotional tactic.
A promotional tactic that will go down as amazing.
Absolutely.